you need your reputation to precede you, and you want, you want to form good relationships with people, and you want to let your clients know that like you're there to make them look good and that they're good in your hands. It's really not just you in a cave making all the decisions you want to make and then sending something off into the world. Like, that's not realistic. I always tell people it's like 50-50. Like, it's 50% you're editing and pushing buttons and making decisions, and then it's like 50% running the room. Because you're in a room with these people for, sometimes weeks on end. And so there's a lot of, the relationship is such a huge part of it. And ultimately, like you need your reputation to precede you, and you want to form good relationships with people, and you want to let your clients know that like you're there to make them look good, and that they can, that they're good in your hands. And so there is a lot of like sort of stewardship that happens of like guiding people through that process, and making sure your room is one where, the vibe is good, the tensions are as low as they can be, that, people feel safe to try things and say things and whatever. So yeah, and I can't speak to what, the other areas of the industry. Like, I don't know, or I don't have the impression that that's necessarily the case in like episodics or features, where you may be spending more time alone, doing the work of it, and then having like sit down screenings and reviews and things. But with the advertising process, like you're in the room with people all day, every day. So it's a huge part of the job. And I attribute my years as a server to the reason I'm able to sort of do that. It's because it is very much like being like a server at a restaurant.
Mhm.
It's like anticipating people's needs. It's reading the room really quickly. It's, learning how to diffuse things. It's, kind of all, I mean, I'm making it sound like it's,
No, but there's a
dealing
service
with a,
industry aspect
it's just,
to
there is a
being an editor.
humongous service industry aspect. Yes. And I
Mhm.
think, if you're, and I feel like I've seen, if there's an editor, if there's someone who's like, they could be an amazing editor, but they don't know how to run a room, or they're just not effective in a room. It really hurts them ultimately, because it is kind of this like jazz hands, you know, uh, situation. You're like, you have to
But
be the party captain.
it's not always like that. We also see people come in, it's like they're gifted. You can tell they've got something. But
Hmm.
that's not, the profile of an editor isn't necessarily that stewardship. I mean, a lot of them love working footage in a dark
Hmm.
cave because they are people who like to do that alone,
Yes.
and they're little odd, and like there's, and
Yes.
that can sometimes work, but that can sometimes work against as well, because if you don't there's part PT Barnum to this, and the
Yeah.
people who really succeed can access both halves of that, sides of that. But it's a very difficult thing to cultivate.
And it just takes time. It takes years. And it takes, I think, if you are, if you're up and coming, if you're younger in the industry, like get in the room with editors who are working and doing this, and see how they run a room. I think if I hadn't had access to that as a younger editor, I think it would be really difficult to even know where to start, and how to make that work. And so yeah, I mean, I think that's one of the things where I feel like mentorship is so critical in this industry, is
Mhm.
that a lot of this isn't necessarily, just innate. Like, you do need to see how people do this and navigate situations. And it's just it's because it's really not just you in a cave making all the decisions you want to make, and then
Mhm.
you know sending something off into the world. Like, that's not realistic.